labor movement and outside, because that's really what the 47%, in my opinion, is. It's about us. It's people who work hard, who want to get ahead, who want to have still that dream and that piece of American pie. And it is available. It is there for us. And we need to keep continually working towards that. And I want to say to you that there's so much that I could go on and on. The president has a long road ahead. And just seeing Mariano, this young man here, I understood that he actually became, I guess, a hero here because he stood out and said that he wanted to stay and continue his education, and that the city got behind him. And I could imagine what that was like, to put yourself out there. If anybody deserves the profile and courage, it's probably this young man. That these policies that the president is talking about will pay back. He's not going to go back to Mexico, I guess, where he originally was born. He's going to stay here. He's already completed his education here at this campus and is now going on to a four-year university and will become an engineer. I have no doubt that he's going to be able to produce and pay back in so many ways society and the economic well-being of his community, and set an example for other young people, men and women who don't necessarily see the kind of possibilities. And that's really what this president is talking about, possibilities and opportunity. So in my opinion, hope is still alive. Esperanza, yo tengo mucho esperanza, mucho, a lot of optimism. And that's just part of who I am, but also there's so many of us that are working right now with the president to see that everyone gets a fair shake. That everyone who wants to succeed has the ability to do that. Anybody who wants to find a job has the tools and necessary assistance to get there. And that we put this economy back to work for all of us. And that we make sure that we get a Congress that is looking in long-term planning, so that we can redo our infrastructure, our roads, our buildings, our modernization that has been put off for our schools. If we're going to be competitive, we have to have modernized schools. They have to be redone. They have to be well equipped. Enough of this 1950 labs that I see when I go around the country. We need to bring that new technology so that our young people can compete. And the only way we're going to do it is if we have good representatives that will move that agenda along. So I applaud the mayor. I applaud the representatives that I mentioned earlier, or senators too, that I've been able to work with. But more importantly, the work is not done. Todavía nos falta mucho trabajo. Y ese trabajo se va a hacer con nosotros. Y no deberíamos de esperar a ninguna persona. Deberíamos de hacerlo así, step by step. We can determine where we want to go. And I think we've always known that. I think our community exemplifies that. Nobody waits. We don't wait. Latinos are very anxious. We always want to move. We always want to get to the next thing. And lastly, I want to say that the other thing that's very important, aside from the DREAM Act and getting immigration reform done, I'm hopeful that now that conversation is open, and that you even have people on the other side of the aisle now understanding the importance of keeping well-trained and exemplary students who come from other places to stay here. They're going to build new opportunities for entrepreneurship, for new creative industries. Why not have them have their buildings and their structures and their operations here, as opposed to competing and draining our jobs and taking them to India or somewhere else, or China? I prefer they stay here and that we're able to make products that say proudly made in the USA.
That's right.
One last thing, the veterans. We have a lot of post-9/11 veterans, young men and women, who have been called up to serve in the last decade. And they are coming home now. They're coming to our community, some of them broken, some of them in need of great intensive service, some just needing a helping hand from a businessman, an entrepreneur who will give them a chance at getting a job. Our Department of Labor is working very closely to see how we can reintegrate them back. We have a lot of new tools online All you have to do is go online, dol.gov/vets, and download the information. We have a lot of assistants. We're trying to make sure that they get credentials because they got extensive training, maybe commanding troops back there of hundreds of thousands, and yet how do you translate that to an employer to convince an employer to hire up that vet? He or she, okay? Because women were also like out there as well. But nevertheless, it's articulating and making sure that credential makes sense to an employer. And we want to encourage them, employers to hire them, but also for these veterans to be able to come home and perhaps put up their own businesses. And so the President has made tax credits available to do that. $9,600 for hiring up a disabled vet. And also half of that would go just for hiring up a vet. Period. We ought to be doing more. I know that the Latino community and others in this room feel strongly about giving these young men and women a chance back in our community. So what better way to serve them now after they served us and protected our livelihood than to do that, to return that favor and to make sure that we continue down that line. So I'm gonna hold it there because I think I've said enough, but I know that this won't be the last time that I come here. I've been very graciously welcomed by all of you, and I truly respect all the work that you are doing, because this gives me the sense that there's so much more happening out in our communities that needs to be spread out. Because regardless of what the challenges that you face here, and Mr. Mayor, you outlined what those are, you are overcoming them. Your optimism, your strength, and the fact that people are here working together tells me that que hay muchos ganas, hay mucho ánimo, hay mucho esperanza. All these good things that bring us together, the threads that bring our communities together that make us strong, so we can all stand up. Because we can't fall if we're all united in that way. So I salute you, I salute all of you, and I want to congratulate the campus here and the community of Hartford for everything that you do. Thank you so much.